This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Great friends, what's happening? We are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man. And guys, I gotta say that I think most fans of baseball teams, particularly who make it deep into the playoffs, when their team is out, so are they. I still think that people will be watching the World Series between Houston and Philadelphia, but I'm going to take a guess here that a lot of Padre fans were so caught up in the Padres run that when it ended, so did baseball season. And, for Dodger fans who listen to the show, once the Padres KO'd the Dodgers, I would say they are out on the World Series. I think people will know it's on. I think people will flip by. Some people might get caught up into it, but I just feel like baseball fans of individual teams, when their teams are out, they might be out. But I'll just say this. We're going to air all the games right here on 1090. So, and that starts this Friday, right, Alex?
Yes, 4:00 pregame show.
Okay, and then and that's going to affect at least our show on the radio because we're going to actually get preempted by ESPN's coverage.
Friday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Friday, Monday, Tuesday, we'll only have 1 hour radio shows.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we'll still be here on YouTube. We'll still be on TV. We'll still be on all the audio podcast platforms. But as for 1090 listeners, we will only have 1 hour shows on Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about this because we have not had Casey Stern back on the show. I want to say since maybe the Padres knocked out the Mets. Doesn't that sound about right, Alex? Browner?
Right after the series, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Casey Stern has this amazing baseball podcast that everybody should be listening to. And I'll just say this, that, Casey, and we talked to Casey, he thought, Padres would lose to the Mets. I think most people probably thought the same thing. Most people probably didn't think the Padres would get past the Dodgers. And they had their chance against the Phillies, but that's where it all ended. Here is Casey Stern back on Kaplan and Crew. Casey, good afternoon. How are you?
What's up, boys? How we doing? Okay?
We're doing pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I think we're all a little disappointed. Like for me, once the Padres beat the Mets, I was like, wow, check that box. This is a super successful season. Once they knocked out the Dodgers, I kind of was like, anything after this is sort of icing on the cake. But the guys here were like, are you out of your mind? Icing on the cake? You're playing Philadelphia, the 6th seed. You can actually get to the World Series. But I think in a couple days after the fact, I think we're all appreciating what an amazing season it was for the Padres. Were you as surprised after the Padres knocked out your Mets what they did against the Dodgers?
No, I mean, really, honestly, no. I mean, I'd said this on this show. I had picked the Braves when I thought the Mets were going to win the division to beat the Dodgers. Then I picked the Mets to beat the Dodgers when the Braves won the division. And I said to you that I thought the Dodgers were very vulnerable because they hadn't played a big game in 3 months. And because they had the layoffs, that's a double no-no. And because their bullpen and the injuries that they had to it over the course of the year were such a big issue, and all that kind of played out. I was surprised. How can you not be? The Dodgers had a record season for that franchise, pretty good franchise. I was surprised, but I would say this, and being through this as a fan and in covering it, you got to get greedy when you're in the thick of things. It doesn't matter if you plan on being there or not. If you're a Padre fan and now if you're a Philly fan, you're not thinking, well, geez, thank God we're in the World Series, but we're playing an Astros team that's way better than we are. And on paper, they are. They won 19 games more than them during the regular season. They got a way deeper pitching staff. They got a better roster than the Phillies do. You got to get greedy, and that's why it hurts. I mean, look, sports, the thrill of victory, agony of defeat. Players feel that, and they still get the big paycheck. Fans feel that, and they paid out all the money, and then what the hell are they left with but a lot of therapy and bills. So I get it. I get it. If you're a Padre fan, I feel for you. I get it.
Casey Stern's podcast is called Unfiltered with Casey Stern. It's part of the Believe Podcast Network. That's BLEAV. You can find it there. You can find it wherever you hear your podcast. But Casey has worked around Major League Baseball and around the NBA forever. You've probably seen him on TNT. When he was filling in for Ernie Johnson years ago. So now he focuses really on baseball. Casey, we were there on Saturday night, the three of us, when the Padres knocked out the Dodgers. And I think all three of us would jump in and say, we've never really been to anything quite like that. I mean, nothing's ever happened like that inside Petco Park.
Not for
You
the
know, it
Padres.
wasn't
Not at all.
right. It wasn't just that they won the divisional series, it was against the Dodgers. And fellas, I mean, I don't know if we can possibly articulate it enough to Casey. Casey, we've just never seen anything like it. The rain was coming down, the fans were out of their minds. The seventh inning, the Padres bats came to life. I'm telling you, man, it was like one of the greatest sports moments of my 20 plus years in San Diego. And I don't know, I found it to be shocking that they were able to knock out the Dodgers.
Well, first of all, and good for you to have that and I mean this because we forget about it when we go through the pain as fans of, the revisionist history of like, hey, we didn't expect 2 months ago to have the moments you guys just explained that you went through, right? So we only think about the pain that comes after that. And, look, I've been through moments like that. I remember it was my 21st birthday when Ventura was at the game at the Grand Slam single many years ago that people remember. And then I remember, 2 days later throwing a TV and breaking it when Kenny Rogers walked Andrew Jones to lose that series and the Mets don't go to the World Series. But I'm certainly happy as hell that I was at that moment when Ventura hit that. So it's like, you got to take that moment in more so probably as the years go on. But I think both in San Diego, boys, and in Philadelphia, both those cities showed out big time. And I was impressed, and not surprised, but I was impressed with both of those cities. And I would say this, and this isn't a slight on San Diego. It's not a slight on New York. And certainly, look, I'm a Met guy, but I don't know if there's been anything like what's happened in Philadelphia. I mean, I covered baseball for 20 years. I did pre and post on TV and/or radio for 16 straight series and World Series. And I remember being in Arizona in 2007, and Brandon Webb's got 2 outs in Game 1 of an LCS, and they had to tell people on the board to stand up in Arizona, which tells you what baseball fans are like there. I thought San Diego and Philly both showed out really well. They should be proud of themselves as fan bases.
Yeah. Casey Stern is here, and so look, guys, you tell me, Alex Browner, are you guys going to be watching the World Series?
You know what? I might watch a couple Bryce Harper at bats because he's earned that. He can get me to the TV now.
I still haven't seen that home run, and I refuse.
Don't. But I'll probably find myself in front of the television to watch a couple Bryce Harper's bats because, like I said, he earned that from me, and he can get me to the TV now.
I got to tell you guys,
Verlander Harper, and go ahead, but Verlander Harper, I mean, look, sometimes we get these matchups right. I mean, that's something you're going to get in Game 1 in probably the first inning. I mean, that's something that if you're a baseball fan, I don't care who you are, those two guys, Harper's on that path now too. He's going to end up in the Hall of Fame someday. Putting together that kind of career, that's going to be a kind of at-bat you want to watch for sure. Go right ahead.
I mean, you got to say, like, no one's rooting for Houston here, except if you're in Houston. Like, I know that a lot of guys have left from the 2017 team, but there's still a lot of guys there. Altuve being Bregman, like those two are like enemy number 1 in the country. So I'm rooting for Philly. I don't know if I'll tune in the first few. I'm always tuning in for elimination games on any sport, hockey, baseball, basketball. Like, if you're a sports fan, I think that's a must. So yeah, I'm all in on Philly. I listen, I've never been to Philly. I don't know about Philly scumbags personally. So I'm all in. I like Philly. And, if they beat us, might as well lose to the champ. That's the way I said it.
I'll say this about Houston, right? Because it's funny, and it's not a shameless plug, but on our show on Unfiltered, which we're doing the pod live every day, so at noon Eastern, you can catch it all across social media, whether it's on Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. But I had, among others, Matt Holliday on today, who was on that 17 team with the Yankees who played the Astros. And I asked him about, hey, when you're watching this, do you still kind of feel some of that? And I had players, who have texted me over, the couple of years after everything happened where the players got away with it, that they couldn't stand this team. But a lot of it is worn off. And one of the big reasons is, and I know him personally, and I worked sitting next to him on a set for Turner, doing pre and post for the postseason for 2 years. Dusty Baker is one of the best people in life, like not in baseball, not of managers, like literally in life. He has buffered a lot of that. And because he's been such a lifer in this sport, to your point, most people root for Philly. The only people who won't be rooting for Philly or will be happy that the Astros win will be happy for him because he deserves it. They'll be happy for him.
With the way that the scandal shook out, I think the Houston Astro organization, the name Houston Astros, they will never be able to shake that. The Chicago White Sox were never able to shake something that happened in 1900 something. Like, it's a part of them now, and it will forever be a part of them as long as baseball's played because they won with it. They won,
but it's also like a lot of people still feel, myself included, that they kind of got off light.
They did.
Oh, yeah.
They did. And two ways. Remember, two ways. They got off light because they got immunity, so that was part of the deal, right? Tell everybody the truth, and you don't get anything. The other way that people don't really remember or talk about enough is, the people who was screwed the most, who was helped the most by the pandemic in baseball, screwed the most. I point this out all the time. Bryce Harper wouldn't be there, but Juan Soto probably still on the Nationals if there's no COVID. People don't remember that after a World Series is where every baseball team makes money, and there were cardboard cutouts. No money, no parades, no people in the building after the Nationals win. Think about how many millions and millions of dollars, seriously, that franchise would have had, that they would have gained. On the other side, the Astros gained the most because those guys went around the league and no cardboard cutout throwing things at you. So they didn't have to deal with going into New York, going into LA and interleague play or any of that stuff until a year after it was removed. So to your point, they got away with a ton, not just the immunity, but not having to live through the ridicule and the scrutiny they would have if you're going into huge full buildings in places like New York, let's say right after they had just lost in a series like that to a Houston team that was cheated.
Yeah.
I would say, too, the Phillies also robbed the national media of what would have been a very interesting story in Joe Musgrove going against Houston, because he's been so outspoken of, like, I don't wear that ring. I don't feel comfortable wearing that ring. He's, like, publicly, like, and everybody's like, oh, Joe Musgrove, man of character, man of character. I think, like, that would have been a super interesting conversation in the entire World Series, especially in the days he pitched.
Which, by the way, and look, I love Joe. I talked about it with you guys even after all the Mets crap with the ear. That's a dude, and I like him a lot. Like, for me, if I'm a pitcher on that team, I'm wearing my ring. Like, these guys may have cheated, but they won because we threw the ball. Like, we weren't doing anything. Like, we had to throw up zeros. Justin Verlander better be wearing, or Miss Upton or whoever, wearing that ring, right, somewhere. Because they're pitchers on the team. And that's the other part is, like, the Verlanders of the world, nobody getting on him because he was part of this. But I do agree, outside of Dusty Baker, who I do think that a lot of people, even if they're not rooting, will be happy that he won because that is a story. Yeah, I think there's still a stench, certainly from an organization standpoint. And to your point, probably will be for a long time.
Casey Stern, his podcast is called Unfiltered. It's part of the Believe Podcast Network. And he's also got great merch. Like, I mean, we like to promote our merch around here. He's got a great t-shirt that says prospects are cool, but parades are cooler. And so that t-shirt I know is blown up. And hey, Casey, I want to get to a couple other things, but just one other thing on the World Series. For those of us that are very focused on the teams that we follow and we cover, can you just kind of give a small synopsis on how the Houston Astros have become a team that finds themselves this good for this sustained amount of time?
Yeah, development. And I know people don't want to hear that because everybody thinks it's always money. And honestly, and I know Padre fans don't want to hear this, so cover your ears. But a lot of what the Dodgers have done, even with all the money they've spent, even with the Trey Turners of the world, is they've been able to find a lot of guys who have come up through the system. Because remember, at the time, you go back to the Wayback Machine, the guys they were paying were named Kemp and Andre Ethier and Adrian Gonzalez, right? So, I mean, they have also done a lot of that with younger players, Gavin Lux being the latest of this. And, the Astros, Jeremy Pena, right? They let Carlos Correa go because they thought they had the right guy. How many teams make the big mistake and don't have it right? This guy just not able to do it. Jeremy Pena been a dude. I mean, you could argue he's been as good as anybody. Yordan Alvarez, right, was not part of this thing when everything happened back in 2017. He pretty good. I don't know if anybody else paying attention, but that's a dude right there, right? They have spent the money clearly. Everybody remembers, you go back to the Wayback Machine, the 11th hour when we used to have the waiver deals, which remember now it's one deadline. It used to be waiver deadlines in August 31st. But people forget 2017, the Astros hadn't made a deal at the deadline. People like Dallas Keuchel in that room were screaming, how the heck are we not doing anything? And then at 11:59 before the waiver deadline, because of the huge contract he had, they took on Verlander's money, and that changed everything as well. So they had some luck. They've taken on some money, but their development, I think, Scott, is probably the biggest reason why, because they've been able to get players like the Tuckers, like the McCormicks, like the Peñas to then infiltrate so that you don't have to pay the Correas of the world or the Springers of the world, both who got priced out of Houston and left, one to Toronto and one to Minnesota.
How many years has it been? There's a number on
6.
How many? One more time, Casey?
6 in a row now in the LCS. Yeah, and now to the World Series here again, but the LCS is 6 in a row.
Wow. I mean, you think about the Dodgers and the success they've had over the last 10 years with only one World Series to show for it. And you think about, the old Atlanta Braves teams and how they were winning every year. I mean, I guess because of the cheating scandal, I'm not so sure we all put Houston in that category, but my goodness, they're kind of right there, aren't they?
Oh, they are. And look, I'd say this. I mean, it is easier. Now, I'm not taking anything away from LeBron, but it is easier in the NBA because you could ride one or two dudes, and he could bring Boobie Gibson and Ilgauskas and then Shumpert and J.R. Smith and different machinations because he's LeBron at the height of his career, right? You could do that for Tom Brady and make a guy like David Patton I saw get released by the Giants become a huge star of a Super Bowl as a wide receiver because you're a quarterback. In baseball, if you could do it that easily, Mike Trout wouldn't have 11 career postseason at bats, right? So it's not that easy. This is front office. This is depth. This is having answers. Framber Valdez. Anybody hear him 3 years ago? Nobody knew who the hell he was. Now look at what he's doing. You know, they had guys like Urquidy make starts in 2019 in the World Series, who's now not even getting opportunities. Presley was the guy who the Minnesota Twins had and didn't even have him as their closer as an eighth inning guy. And now here's their shutdown closer in Presley. They've made smart decisions. They've done a good job in the front office. Money is clearly part of it. Luck is clearly part of it, but they've developed. And then the other part that I know people don't want to give, look, you Bregman and Altuve, any credit, and I get it, even though I'm a Jose Altuve guy, one of the reasons being in all my years, he and David Eckstein, the only two guys I ever interviewed in a postseason on the field that were eye level with me, so I'm with it. But I will tell you that when you think about, go look at the numbers of Altuve, Springer, Correa, and Bregman, and those four guys, I don't mean in the last 10 years, but I mean all time in this kind of sport, a million years of this sport, where they rank in postseasons. We talk about the core four of the Yankees for all those years. I know two of them not there anymore, but when Altuve is, when it's all said and done, and that dude's in the Hall of Fame someday, and he's putting together that kind of career, you're going to see guys like that and Bregman, their numbers among the top postseason players that have ever lived. So they've gotten those guys have had those moments in those spots.
You just spiked two really interesting questions. And one is about the Altuve Hall of Fame, which then goes down this whole Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens rabbit hole that I don't think we have enough time for. But what you also said, you brought up LeBron James, you brought up Tom Brady. So this is my more important question. When Bryce Harper comes to bat, you got a man on first, and Bryce Harper has been killing you. And I mean killing you. But Suarez has been good, but Bryce Harper has been killing you all series. Baseball has the one thing that football and basketball don't. You can't take the ball out of Tom Brady's hands, and you can work hard to get LeBron the ball out of his hands, but at the end of the day, the ball will find a way into his hands. You can take the bat out of Bryce Harper's hands. As a person who's engulfed so much baseball, would you have walked Bryce Harper?
I probably would have had Hader in there when I had to in at least two of, if not all three of the games that he went home. So we could start with that. So the guy on the mound could have been different in that spot. Let's start there. All right. Because that's what you got him for. And I watched Buck Showalter make this mistake when I was covering at TBS doing pre and post that year back in 2014, where he's got a Zach Britton who's third in Cy Young, and he put Ubaldo Jimenez out because it's not a save situation, and you go home, right? So that's like, to me, the bigger question. The answer is, for me, I'm always of the belief in baseball. You can, to your point, say, I'm not going to let that guy beat me. That's how Barry Bonds was treated. It's how Aaron Judge should have been treated more during the regular season, and for some ungodly reason was not. It's one of the reasons, guys, why they let him off, because at least one at bat, you're not going to walk him to start the game. But he wasn't getting the treatment that way anyway. To your point, in a situation, the way I look at it, you probably walk him, but my bigger problem was that the right guy's not in the game in that spot.
Casey Stern is here. His podcast is called Unfiltered. And if you are a baseball fan, this is for you. Hey, Case, we got about a minute and a half. I just want to ask you, Bruce Bochy, somebody we know very well around here.
Love him.
Leaves the Padres, goes and becomes a 3-time World Series champion with the Giants, is out of baseball, and could be happily retired the rest of his life. Got plenty of money. What is he doing going back in, number one? And why would Texas be attractive for him?
Well, I think, first of all, Texas is attractive for him because CY is there, because Chris Young. And that's a guy who pitched for him, and they've got a great relationship. And I can tell you that CY, Chris Young's one of the most respected people in the game, right? So that's number one. Number two, they've got a lot of money and a lot of money to spend. Remember, they got Seager, right? They're the guys who went and got Semien. I will tell you right now that if Aaron Judge is not a Yankee, the Giants, probably over the Mets, are the answer. But mark what I say now and remember it. If Jacob deGrom is not a Met, that's where he'll be in Texas. They're going to go after names like that and with money like that. They're going to play with names like that. Bruce Bochy doesn't go there if he doesn't know that going in. Expect the Rangers to be the number one offer that Jacob deGrom gets this offseason.
Wow. I was trying to figure it out. I mean, listen, the Chris Young part of it I get. I mean, we know Chris very well. And do remember those years where he played for Boch. But wow, that's really interesting to hear. Hey, Case, great to catch back up with you. And hopefully we maybe get you back during the World Series.
Anytime. And for people who want to see it live at 12 Eastern, we got John Gibbons, Alex Cora, Ned Yost, Billy King, longtime ran the Sixers, huge Phillies fan, among many others that I'm probably forgetting here in the next few days. So you can catch it. Go on Twitter at Casey Stern and get it live every day at noon Eastern.
All right, noon Eastern. That's 9 a.m. local time. So for everybody that just heard that, at Casey Stern on Twitter. Hey, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. And we're just kind of getting the show back on track now because the last 2+ weeks has been like all Padres all the time. Don't go anywhere. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. only on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the mightier1090.com.
From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health. Join Erica Cardenas as she introduces you to health experts and discover how our daily choices affect our well-being. Plus, learn simple tips for a healthier living. Your Health, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on Your View and YourView.com. Your Health is brought to you by Clever Care Health Plan, your partners for comprehensive care.
I thought I was okay. I had a degree, I had work experience. I should be able to provide for my kids. But they're just things that you don't plan on in life.
My husband got laid off and we are a family of 5.
My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I would ask the doctors, what can I do? And they would just say, just make sure she's eating. Our lives just changed completely. Thank God that we always had a plate of food.
When your air conditioner needs to be tuned up, repaired, or replaced, call Bill Howe, the name you have trusted for over 40 years. We carry the most reliable, energy-efficient brands that will fit your budget. Whether you are looking for a traditional or ductless air conditioning system, you know who to call.
Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE. Bill Howe, because we know how.
Do the ups and downs of the financial markets have you on a roller coaster? Don't let the market take you and your investments for a ride. Stabilize your funds with SDCCU's Great Rate Savings, Money Market, or Certificate accounts. Choose a savings option that meets your needs and watch your money grow with SDCCU. Earn 1.5% APY on a 12-month certificate or 2.5% APY on a 36-month certificate. Open an account at sdccu.com/now. SDCCU, it's not big bank banking, it's better.
Change the way you look and feel with San Diego's most comprehensive varicose and spider vein treatment facility. San Diego Varicose Vein Treatment Center offers minimally invasive, pain-free procedures performed by board-certified cardiologist Dr. Tahizadeh. With over 17 years of experience, we specialize in the diagnosis of varicose veins, spider veins on the face, hands, and legs, ankle discoloration, leg swelling, and more. Improve your vein health today. Visit consultation.sdveintreatment.com or call 619-582-2404.
Welcome back. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, John Browner, and Alex Padilla.
Hey, great friends. What's happening? It's Wednesday afternoon. This is Kaplan and Crew. It is October 26th. I got Grande and the Brown Man, and we are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. So if you're just getting with us today, we started the show by kind of loosening up. We were talking about the Dahmer series on Netflix. We were talking about other series that we may be watching or not watching. So we were talking a little TV early. Got into an interview with Casey Stern from his podcast Unfiltered, which is like hardcore baseball. So we were talking Padres and kind of the post-mortem of the Padres season, a little bit of the World Series and the Houston Astros, getting to know that team a little bit better. So as we come back in here to the third segment of today's show, fellas, I know that yesterday midday, Aj Preller, Bob Melvin were having press conferences and talking to the media, just kind of wrapping up the season. I would love to go back to yesterday afternoon and hear some of what Preller and Melvin were saying. Have you guys heard all of this stuff?
I did.
I only heard a little bit.
I did.
Yeah.
There was only two questions that I cared about personally.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, what's up with Tatis?
Mm-hmm.
And what does the future of Soto look like? And those are the only two I got. So
what about the I did hear yesterday, though, somebody, and I think it may have been Bernie Wilson. So shout out to Bernie, the always salty Bernie Wilson, who just never backs down in a press conference and has just no time to be intimidated by the interviewee. But I did hear Bernie Wilson, I think, yesterday ask the question about where will Tatis play when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that was the kind of thing where an Aj Preller is going to avoid giving that sort of an answer. Don't know for sure that Preller knows right now, but on the other hand, that's not something he wants to necessarily talk about.
That in itself is the story. The general manager doesn't know right now, which means it's not 100% at shortstop. That's the story.
Yeah.
So I mean, the answer is not full-time at shortstop.
The answer also might be, don't know 1,000% for sure that he's in a Padres uniform.
Well, like we forgot yesterday in the excitement and randomness of that conversation about Ohtani, full no trade clause through 2028
for Tatis.
Yeah, which doesn't mean like he can't get traded.
Right.
He just has to give the green light.
Yes, and I
considering
wonder,
he's already paid.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Tatis, because I put this out on Sided. I don't know if you saw this question I put out there today. This was a conversation that we were having yesterday, and then we cut up the conversation and we put it into a small clip on YouTube. And the conversation we were having yesterday was, would you be willing to trade Ohtani for Tatis? And if I were the Angels, I'd do that deal all day long for this reason. Ohtani's got a 1-year, $30 million contract. After the 1 year, if Ohtani performs this upcoming season like he did this past season, he might be the biggest contract in the history of baseball. I mean, we could be talking about a $50 million a year player. So if I'm the Angels and I'm going to go through an ownership change and I've got a stadium problem, I don't know that I really want to pay Ohtani $50 million a year to get the results that the team gets. On the other hand, if I were the Padres, I would love to get Ohtani right now, pay him $30 million, and have a top-level pitcher, because Ohtani probably walks in as your number 2 pitcher. Maybe even your number 1. He definitely becomes your top power hitter. Mm-hmm. So you have 2 players for 1, And I could get rid of Tatis and this ridiculous contract that we gave him, which, by the way, I would sell to the Angels and go, dude, this is a really great contract because it's a 14-year deal, $340 million. And I promise you this, 5 years into this deal, he's going to be significantly underpaid compared to the rest of baseball. If I were the Padres and I could trade Tatis for Ohtani, I have to take a real hard look at them.
After a night of
Look at
sleeping
Browner.
on
Look
it.
at that face. Look at that face on Browner.
Well, because we say Ohtani anytime that face comes out. So you can say anything about Ohtani and that face comes out.
Mm-hmm.
There's never going to be a neutral answer coming your way. You're saying the guy he hates and the guy he loves, and now you want to swap them. What other space do you want? But I'll say this for me, after thinking about it, something that I do give AJ Preller credit for, regardless of the trades working out or not working out, he's never gone all in on a 1-year thing. And what do I mean by that? He didn't go all in on Scherzer last year because it was just a rental. Like, if you go in for Ohtani for Tatis, that means you're going all in next year. That's your guarantee. You have to go all in next year, and that makes me very uncomfortable. Because if you don't win it, then what? Because then you could likely see Ohtani leave for nothing, Machado opt out for nothing, Darvish gone, Snell gone. So you're looking at least with Tatis, you know what you got, kind of. Not really. But when health,
you know what you got, kind of. Not really.
Actually, the more I think about it, you know what you had, and you're hoping to get that back.
Yeah.
And that's a very stable thing for me that I really, really like. And it's that his talent is incomparable to anybody in baseball. It's that.
Well, Browner said this yesterday, and Browner, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but you said it yesterday. I kind of got to take a look first. I got to take a look at, Tatis,
you want the Lakers
Machado,
approach.
and Soto. The
Let's
Lakers approach.
wait till Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right. I feel like I kind of got to see, before I'd be willing to make a trade of this magnitude, I really would like to see what Tatis, Machado, and Soto look like together in the lineup. But it was an interesting conversation, I'll tell you that.
I think the idea surrounding Ohtani is, it's just that. It's an idea. So I'm going to let you guys have all the fun you want with that. This city, this organization, as tempting as the Ohtani thing may sound, you are going to be getting back, ideally, Fernando Tatis Jr. in a city that already loves him, in a place where they want him there, and you're trying to put something together that is a dream lineup. If you are starting a game with Tatis, Soto, and Machado, bruh.
Browner, let me ask you a question. And listen. Tatis will be a Padre next year. I will preface this conversation. I will preface this full conversation we're about to have with that. Tatis will be a Padre next year.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to the NLCS with Hassan Kim at short.
Right.
You said yesterday, what was the biggest issue this year? They didn't have a fourth starter.
Yes.
Does Ohtani not give you the power bat of a Bryce Harper? And does Ohtani not solve that issue more than Tatis would solve their issues?
Me personally, I
believe that we will win.
We're not in a bar.
I
believe if you're going to assume through Ohtani's performance that he can then repeat that in Petco, because when we're talking about doing that, I'm taking into consideration that every player that's been traded into Petco expecting power from them has not happened.
Manny Machado.
Excuse me?
Manny Machado.
So what's that, 25 to 30?
That's what he was before he got here, and that's what he still is now.
Right, 25 to 30. So 30 is a lot.
Not to mention that you said it over and over again. This team scores more runs and has better offensive statistics on the road than they do at home. So what does it matter?
Because you play more games at home.
No, you play the exact same number of games.
You play more games at home than you would out in a place. So let's say you don't hit well. Let's say everybody hits well in Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody may not hit well in Arizona. So those numbers are not going to be the same because the team scored more on the road. That may have a lot to do with other things. We know power does not happen in Petco.
If you're a power hitter, you hit home runs. Machado
Yeah.
has hit 30+ home runs here. Tatis hit 40. The year he played a full season, he hit 40 home runs. If you have power, like Ohtani has, he may not hit 50, but he'll hit 40+, 35+.
I think the point, but I think the point is this though.
But
that
that's
you
not
made
like
it,
that's such a minute thing, Scott. Like
right.
You're talking about a difference of like give or take 5 to 10 home runs, okay? But you're completely forgetting what he gives you on the mound. You don't even want to acknowledge what he gives you on the mound.
No, but that's just it. Like if you told me, let me put it this way: if Ohtani had a 14-year, $340 million contract, and Tatis has a 14-year, $340 million contract, and I told you could trade them straight up even, and they've got the same contract, Ohtani brings to the table 50% more than what Tatis brings to the table, especially because Ha-Seong Kim has proven to be not just competent, Gold Glove caliber shortstop.
Don't you do that around here. Don't you do that. Don't come into my no Gold Gloves. We already know that's fraudulent.
I mean, I'm just telling you that he's nominated as a Gold Glove finalist.
You don't want to listen to the numbers or your eyes. Ha-Seong Kim is a better shortstop than Fernando Tatis Jr. He just doesn't make these flashy plays. That's all. Sometimes.
All right.
Listen.
Wait till Tatis come back making these plays. I can't wait. Y'all know.
Well, but you know what? Listen, this is part of the story. Is that yesterday? And now we'll get to it. Let's just jump right in. We'll get to it. Let's hear from Aj Preller. Let's hear from Bob Melvin. It is a story that the general manager is not necessarily committed to Tatis as the shortstop next year. The whole conversation about Tatis versus Ohtani and would you make that trade? It's just a goofy conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Certainly one that kind of makes things go around. I put it up on Unsighted. For all of our listeners and viewers who are, early adopters to our platform, I put the question up there earlier, which is if you were the general manager of the Angels and the Padres, would you even consider a Tatis for Ohtani trade, especially given Ohtani's a 1-year, $30 million contract, Tatis is a 14-year, $340 million contract. If you're the Padres, would you want to take that risk? And Alex, to your point about being all in, I would say this: the Padres, that window of opportunity, at least let's just call it the Juan Soto window of the next 2 years where you've got Soto under contract. I would say the window is the next 2 years. And you bring up Manny Machado and his ability to opt out. I would say the window is now. And I'm just saying
it is
that
now, but
yes,
all in on 1 year is not the right way to go. That's how you become the Kansas City Royals.
Nobody wants that, or the Tampa Bay Rays.
I mean, yeah, you'll take the ring. You'll take the ring, obviously, but then you go back into purgatory because you traded everything, you gave away everything for 1 year. So,
but would you trade? Would you if you had the title? I mean, listen, you're a Laker fan. You have a title.
Yeah,
and the Lakers have trended.
That's hard because that's not the only one.
Right.
It was worth it for Anthony Davis because you got another one. It's not the only one. What I like, at least covering this team and being in this city, a perennial winner sounds nice. Really nice. And if you get the Astros, listen, Casey brought it up. 6 straight CSs, only one title. So we don't talk about them choking away every single year too. But it's really nice in Houston to have every single year I'd rather be the Dodgers. I'd rather just be every single year. I'd rather be there every single year.
Imagine the excitement we all experienced.
Success.
Imagine the excitement we all just experienced every year for 7 years, or every other year for 10 years.
It'd be incredible. It really
would.
Listen,
I know there's a lot of people out there like, are you stupid? This city has never won a major championship. You take the one and you figure it out.
I would take the one. I would take the one.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't, because if you put yourself, because if you're telling me in 10 years you'll be there 7 times, but you won't win, but you would take the one and not win at all for 20 years, no, I'm good. Give me the opportunity to be there, other than to win one and then be gone for 20 years. Like that's not.
Yeah.
No.
I would I would take the championship.
All right.
All right, listen. Let me get to some of this Preller sound. Let me get to the Bob Melvin sound. We'll get there here in 1 second. I do want to remind everybody, if you're thinking about a new car, consider our people at Mazda of Escondido, MazdaofEscondido.com. The reason I want you to really consider Mazda of Escondido is this reason. We have a listener. I don't want to say his name on the air, but he sent me this message, and he's like, "Dude, my wife went to a Mazda dealer in Carlsbad. I don't know which dealer it was. I'm sure there's probably only one." And he said to her, before you buy the car at this dealership, please at least go price it out at Mazda of Escondido, because I'm a listener to the show and I want to support the sponsors. At least give them an opportunity to see if they can do a better deal for you. And he sent me this text and he direct message on like Instagram. And he's like, dude, we saved $3,000 at Mazda of Escondido versus another Mazda dealership in another part of town. And I said to him, well, thanks a lot for sharing this with me and telling me this story. That's really great news. And he said, no, thank you for promoting Mazda of Escondido. And he walked in, hey, I'm a great friend. I listen to Kaplan and Crew. Where's Alan, the general manager? And Alan took such good care of him that he found a way to save him $3,000. So look, you want to save money? You want brand new Mazda products? You got them. Fuel efficiency, reliability, modern technology, and availability. Okay? That's Mazda of Escondido, MazdaofEscondido.com. All right, Alex, you want to play for us some of the Preller stuff?
Yeah, here's AJ on Tatis.
AJ, what position do you want to see Tatis at next year, and have you had discussions with him yet?
Yeah, the position would be like on the field for 160, 145 games. So that position would work for
Infield,
us.
outfield, shortstop,
Yeah.
center field, left field, right field?
I think again, I know it's a question. Obviously, it's talked about a lot, and I think I really do. I think for right now, it's about just getting him healthy, and I think those are the conversations that we'll start having here in the next couple of weeks with our scouts, our front office group, the baseball operations department, Bob and the staff, and try to get some clarity here going into spring training going forward. He gives you that options because he's a great athlete, he's a great player, he can play all over the field. And we have some other guys that have stepped up on the current roster that'll be part of the equation too. So it should be good competition, and we'll do what we think is best for him and for our club, honestly, going forward.
Yeah, I love Bernie Wilson. I love Bernie asking that question. He's like, "Hey, what position is he going to play?" Well, we just want him healthy and on the field. No. You know what I'm asking? I'm asking infield or outfield. I'm not one of these other guys that's just cheerleading for you. I have questions, and I'm willing to ask them, and I'm not going to just back down. So I love that about Bernie. And I also kind of like what Preller said, which is we're going to do what's best for our team, because I hate when teams walk on eggshells around star players. He wants
those
to play
days
this
are long
position.
gone here.
Yeah.
Well, right. Well, that's just it.
That shit failed.
Right. That's just it. Is that the Padres last year, nobody punished, if you will, Tatis, because everybody was, he's gonna get upset. He's gonna be he has to play this position. Everybody's watching everything they say about him and everything they do with him. Now he will come back and be grateful. He will be humbled, and he will do as he is told based on what the organization thinks is best for their team, not best for one individual.
I slightly disagree with that. What I will say, I did like the last thing that Preller said, competition. I love the fact that he said competition. Because if you're going to put this team through what you put this team through, when you show up, leave no doubt who deserves to be where. If you're him, everybody else come in looking to be in the same routine as you, same positions you were in last year. If you're him, you're coming in, it's going to be no doubt that I'm going where I want to go and how I want to go there. Because I'm going to remind y'all why y'all paid me that money. Yeah, I've been a dick. My bad. But y'all let me get away with this because of what I can do. And I'm going to remind y'all of that. And that's the part about competition to me in sport that is undeniable. The coach doesn't have to like you. The general manager doesn't have to like you. Your teammates don't have to like you. When you get on the field of play and you blow everybody else out of the water with your ability, that does all the talking.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah.
That, to me, sounds like a guy that is not going to count on him being here for 145 games. Like, how can I put that amount of trust in him right now? I need to see it before I believe it. So
Yes.
why would I commit to him at shortstop? Why would I commit to him at center field? I need to build a roster where he's part of it, but he's not some centerpiece of it.
Yes.
And that's the smartest
fair.
way to go about it this offseason.
But if you're a general manager, why would you let a guy burn you twice?
Because
So
we
Alex,
don't know
what
the
you're saying makes
conversation.
perfect sense.
Because what I mean, well, they don't really have a choice because he signed a $300+ million contract. That's why. And we
Again,
don't know the conversations that are being had. We don't know his attitude right now. We know that he had surgeries. That's all we know. We haven't heard from the kid.
if you're the general manager, he's not calling shots anymore. If you tell him, hey, I need you to do this, I don't want to see you in a cage on the internet somewhere. Like,
In theory.
that's gone now.
In theory. How do we know that he's actually doing it, though? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I've always been a Tatis over Preller guy, but after this year, I got to go with Preller now. I have to put, like, all benefit of the doubt towards the team right now. I'm not giving any benefit of the doubt to Tatis at all.
He lost a lot of equity when they traded for Soto.
He lost equity when he decided that ringworm needs to be treated by PEDs. I mean, that's where he lost his
crashing
equity.
multiple motorcycles.
Right. But he could have come back from that.
You could have gotten over.
No, if he would have come back and played the second half of this year when he was healthy enough to play,
right,
he could have gotten over the motorcycle crash.
Yes.
It was the fact that he got himself caught up in a PED scandal, which he'll never live down. All right, listen, we played one cut for you from Aj Preller yesterday. We'll play a little bit more of what Preller had to say. You'll hear what Bob Melvin had to say as well. And then we'll start moving on to some other stories that we want to get to. We're in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man. Stick around.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Rome comes home. Yes, I said it. You can now catch the Jim Rome Show Monday through Friday, noon until 3 p.m. on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio. Back to San Diego, where it all started, on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Drivers are getting in accidents at a rate we've never seen before, jumping 18% since 2020. There are higher incidents of speeding and more aggressive driving since the pandemic began. Please slow down and drive safely. It can save a life.
Please welcome 4 of the 5 San Diego County Teachers of the Year from the 2021-2022 school year. From Central Elementary School, Laura Reyes. From Westville High School, Tiffany Jokers. From San Jose Elementary School, Jacqueline Jordan. And from St. Joe Southwest Middle School, Todd Sanders. Teachers, please deliver the pitch. San Diego County Teachers of the Year with their honorary pitch.
From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health. Join Erica Cardenas as she introduces you to health experts and discover how our daily choices affect our well-being. Plus, learn simple tips for healthier living. Your Health, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on Your View and yourview.com. Your Health is brought to you by Clever Care Health Plan, your partners for comprehensive care.
At the Barnes firm, we're seeing more pedestrian and bicycle accidents. Drivers are rolling through red lights, and distracted driving makes every intersection a danger zone for pedestrians. Look both ways when crossing, even if you have the right of way.
Listen to The Mike Greenberg Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Greeny brings his unmatched depth of sports knowledge, fun, and entertainment back to ESPN on a daily basis. The Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and themightier1090.com.
Hola, I'm JR Cardenas.
And I'm Vanessa Ramirez.
We're the hosts for Subida, where we showcase California restaurants, music,
art, culture, and so much more.
We would love to talk to you about featuring your business on our show.
Yes, and as an added bonus, you get to keep the professional video segment to repurpose and use on your website or social media channels.
Please click on the link below to get more information about how to put your business on Subida.
We hope to hear from you soon.
Great things can be achieved when a community comes together. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community. Watch Doing More Sunday night at 6 on YourView or stream it online at yourview.com. Brought to you by Procopio, San Diego's largest law firm, committed to community, representing San Diegans for more than 75 years. You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the Mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and YourView, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
Absolutely. The best part of the day is working with the team and working directly with customers. Just because it's fun and I enjoy collaborating. I enjoy watching the customers' reactions when the designers come up with their spaces. And we really take pride in the team effort and what we accomplish in the end.
I can tell that the team we have, accountability is very important. They feel like the work that we do is not just a reflection of themselves, but a reflection of us.
We've always been a design build company, but now we've taken design, not only architectural, but interior design to a completely different level.
The philosophy of integrity here at Murray Lampert is always doing the right thing, even when someone isn't looking. In turn, the homeowners get a really great product.
We're truly a team at Murray Lampert Design, Build, Remodel, and we don't take that lightly.
Murray Lampert's design process is very collaborative. We love the process, and what's best about the process is the way that it can flex as needed. So if there's a new piece of technology that's available that's really going to help us out make a more accurate model, we're going to utilize that. We'll send the measure-off team to the house, and they will end up scanning the house using drones, LiDAR scanning, lasers, and tape measures to measure every square inch of the home. Then they'll take that information back to the office and build a 3D model of the home. We'll be upfront and honest if they're asking for things that may be out of their budget. We're going to let them know up front. We're always motivated to strive for excellence. There's kind of not another way to be. We do the best work we can and ultimately make the homeowners happy. What makes me proud is when we present that 3D model to the homeowners and we wow them. Sometimes we even bring tears to their eyes because they love the design so much. That brings me a lot of joy.
I feel like I have the fun part of the job where I get to help out and make my clients' houses look beautiful. We start with looking at the floor plan, space planning, and then we look at countertops, tile, backsplashes, flooring, cabinets, everything like that. We have a lot of client meetings start in our conference room. Sometimes we have some clients that have already selected certain items that they want to incorporate into their project. We want to make sure they're happy with it because they're going to be living with it for a very long time. Sometimes we'll do something that goes totally with the style, and then we'll have a total outlier option for the client. And a lot of the times they end up going with that because they want to see something totally different. We want to make sure that we're focusing in on our clients. I really want to make sure at the end of the day the clients are happy, that I'm keeping up with my communication with them, and that we know that at the end of the day as well, and moving through the process of construction and everything, that we're going to have a successful project.
Joining me now is Paco Franco, Medicare Benefits Consultant with Clever Care. Thank you so much for joining us, Paco.
Thank you so much, Erica. I really appreciate it.
First off, we hear that Clever Care is a health plan customized for growing diverse populations. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most distinct differences of Clever Care is that we combine the principles of Eastern and Western medicine to our approach of healthcare. We believe in the complete well-being of our members and believe that wellness should be affordable. Anybody who's eligible for Medicare can join Clever Care Medicare Advantage HMO plan. We also have another enrollment period coming up called the annual enrollment period. This is the most popular one, which takes place from October 15th to December 7th. And during this time, you can sign up for a new plan, you can switch plans, you can leave a plan, or simply just return to your original Medicare.
Please welcome 4 of the 5 San Diego County Teachers of the Year from the 2021-2022 school year. From Central Elementary School, Laura Reyes. From Westville High School, Tiffany George. From San Marcos Elementary School, Jacqueline Jordan. And from St. Joe Chavez Middle School, Zar Sanders. Teachers, please deliver the pitch. San Diego County Teachers of the Year with their honorary pitch.
Surf soccer has been around for over 30 years. We're based here in San Diego, but we are the premier national youth sports brand in soccer. Our mission is to create experiences and opportunities for kids, and we do that here mostly in San Diego with our 1,000 kids, but we also do it through our events where we really help kids chase their dreams.
PNC Bank's sponsorship helps the kids here. One, it is to continue to help fund facilities like this where the kids can come play soccer. Two, it is really through our scholarship program. There are a lot of kids in San Diego that have incredible levels of talent, but they can't afford to play on a team like Surf. And so a lot of our sponsorship dollars go back into scholarships to give an opportunity for kids who are low to moderate income to play on one of the elite teams in the U.S.
Having a partner like PNC who is community oriented and cares about the development of youth in the community is amazing because our missions are completely aligned and we're both driven by helping develop kids, and in this case through sport in San Diego.
The NFL lives here. If it's about the NFL, you found the right station. Join 1090 every Sunday during the NFL season for the exclusive SoCal home of not one, but 2 NFL games every Sunday during the season on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
Congratulations to the 2022-23 San Diego County Teachers of the Year, Jacqueline Ma, Stephanie Cluxton, Amy McCoy, Juanita Nunez, and Melissa Raines. Congratulations to all the Teachers of the Year. We salute you and everything you do for your students.
Change the way you look and feel with San Diego's most comprehensive varicose and spider vein treatment facility. San Diego Varicose Vein Treatment Center offers minimally invasive, pain-free procedures performed by board-certified cardiologist Dr. Tahizadeh. With over 17 years of experience, we specialize in the diagnosis of varicose veins, spider veins on the face, hands, and legs, ankle discoloration, leg swelling, and more. Improve your vein health today. Visit consultation.sdveintreatment.com or call 619-582-2404.
From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health. Join Erica Cardenas as she introduces you to health experts and discover how our daily choices affect our well-being. Plus, learn simple tips for healthier living. Your Health, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on YourView and YourView.com. Your Health is brought to you by Clever Care Health Plan, your partners for comprehensive care.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.